What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing season 1 episode 8 of the Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. We are trying to bang them out, guys, because I'm trying to get to season 2 as quickly as possible, because season 2 is where all the craziness really starts to pop off. This particular episode is not that bad, just like the last episode. They're basically like around average, if not slightly above average, in my opinion, and I'm trying to be very fair with the episodes, and I try to call out the good messaging and the bad messaging, and this one has a little bit of both as well. So we're going to jump right into it, guys. But before we do, of course, all I'm going to ask you is two things. Consider giving me a like so I can help push this video out to the YouTube algorithm. It really does help me out a bunch. And also consider giving this video a long view duration, because the longer you watch this video, the more it gets pushed out to people on YouTube, and the better the video does, and the better the channel benefits from it. So with that being said, guys, let's get into the review for season 1, episode 8 of the Proud Family. All right, so this particular episode does have some pretty interesting topics to talk about, one of which is mainly homelessness. It has to deal with a teacher who I don't know if she's a substitute. I think she might be a substitute, or maybe she's a permanent teacher that happens to replace another one. I'm not really sure. I didn't really catch it in the episode, and that's my bad. But ultimately, they find out that she is homeless, and the kids not only ruin her life because she is homeless, but then they try to end up saving her later down the line. It's an interesting duality that happens. But let's start off with this episode. So if we go forward, we see the kids in the classroom, and when they're in the classroom, the entire classroom starts to like rumble, right? Kind of like Jurassic Park sort of a thing. And they realize that there's a new teacher coming in. Check this out. So they start realizing that whoever's coming is like serious business, right? She's not there to kind of mess around or be any kind of like useless teacher. And when she comes, I'm not gonna play this sound because it honestly hurts, but it's the whole you guys know the whole screeching sound on the chalkboard. And this particular teacher is called Miss Hill. Now, Miss Hill is a very, I don't want to say like rude teacher. She's not rude. She's just one of those tough, like hard ass teachers, right? Like the ones who they definitely take their jobs very seriously. They're not there to have any sort of fun whatsoever, and they kind of sort of maybe enjoy kind of bossing around kids a little bit too much, kind of a thing. But she's definitely one of those. She takes her job very seriously, and listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own methods when it comes to being a teacher. I'm not a teacher, so I won't speak on it. Although it seems like a lot of teachers these days only focus on LGBTQ stuff, but that's besides the point. So let's play this clip so you guys can see exactly what Miss Hill's about. Check it out.
I'm Miss Hill. Miss Eckhart's water broke. Yes, she's giving life today, so I will be taking over the class.
Well, I'm breaking out of here right now.
So, okay, that answers my question. So she's not a substitute necessarily. She kind of is, but the other one is on leave because she just had a baby. So there's that. Now, immediately all the kids try to like leave the classroom because they're scared of this woman, and she just completely destroys them. Check it out.
Think you going Miss Bougie Boulevard ass to the mall?
I don't feel well. I need to see the nurse.
Now, you know and I know they got rid of the nurse with the last budget cuts. Sit down.
So that's probably the best part. Miss Hill just completely destroys the kids every which way she possibly can, and they are all completely scared of her. She ends up giving them a pop quiz, and all the kids complain that the last teacher never gave them pop quizzes because this particular class has to do with like health education, and they shouldn't be a pop quiz. But of course, Miss Hill's not gonna care. Check it out.
Anybody else got anything to say? That's an F for you too, Blondie.
So she ends up giving the entire class attention because they just won't shut up, and they all keep trying to say things that make them, she's telling them to be quiet essentially, and they're just not listening. Check it out.
Well, see if you can figure out this one, Miss Smarty Pants. Everybody's got detention. Zang!
Now, even though I know like Zang is like a thing, I really find it very annoying when they all say Zang. It just is like teaching them not to use proper English kind of a thing. But again, it is what it is. Like they're trying to reach a certain market, and they definitely are when they use words like that. So Penny ends up coming home, and then this happens with her and Oz.
I'll see y'all later. I need a favor. I lost my phone and I'm not ready to get kicked out this house.
So she ends up losing her phone. This kid, KG, ends up looking like he's playing Kingdom Hearts from the size of it. And then when she ends up tracking down her phone, she puts on some spy gear. Not really sure what's going on with that. And it's a spider outfit, which is really, really weird. Check this out. So the whole spider outfit's very, very weird, but she ends up doing a whole espionage mission because the phone is stuck in the school. She left her phone in the school, and apparently the school has some really high grade security systems, and it's just kind of like a Mission Impossible sort of like gimmick here going on. So as she goes forward, she realizes that she found her phone finally, but she has thermal goggles that showcases someone is on the other side of the building still at this time of night, and she can't figure out who it is. When she opens the door, she realizes that it's Miss Hill in the school, eating her food, getting her face ready, and kind of like just took a shower and is essentially getting ready to sleep, it looks like. And she doesn't quite understand what's going on because she's basically living in the teacher's lounge, which is very weird, singing a song and everything. So she ends up going the next day after school starts, and she tells her friends that she found Miss Hill in the teacher's lounge. But the kids are like, that makes perfect sense because she's a teacher. What's the big deal in her being in the teacher's lounge? And that's when she explained that it was after hours and that she basically slept there overnight, and she feels like Miss Hill is homeless, and that's when she brings that up. Check it out. But after she brings it up, Miss Hill ends up showing up. Watch.
My ministry.
Look, my Uncle Bobby was a drum major in college.
Your Uncle Bobby went to college? Ooh, I know I'm getting in.
There's one thing I missed though. Zoe is found out she's the lead in the band. She's a front and center lead, but she's scared because, you know, the joke is that she's white, she has no rhythm, and she literally can't dance, to the point where they thought she was having a seizure when she was dancing, and they were trying to revive her on the floor. But that's how bad she is at dancing. And the girls say that they will teach her. Some of them will teach her, but Maya will not teach her because it's even though she hates cultural appropriation, she knows that Zoe does need help, but she won't help her because of cultural appropriation. So that's a thing. That's a message in this show. Cultural appropriation. Yeah, only white people apparently do that. Nobody else does that. Then Miss Hill shows up and this happens. Check it out.
Nikki Giovanni, what
A
about?
lot.
Guess how many detentions you got? A lot. Don't act like I don't know that song.
So again, Miss Hill completely destroys them hilariously. Now, again, so Penny ends up showcasing her phone. She had took video and pictures of Miss Hill, basically, you know, living in the school. And that's a big revelation to a lot of them. And they all pinky promised not to share the information regarding Miss Hill. But you damn sure know you cannot trust Dejanay, that Dejanay is going to spill the beans. Because she does all the time. Every time they tell her a secret, she tells everybody. So then Zoe ends up seeing Bobby, and Bobby's going to try to teach her how to have some moves because clearly she can't dance or anything like that. And then what happens is everybody gets a text message, and they find out that Miss Hill was fired, and Penny cannot understand how anybody got the pictures or the videos that she took while she was in the school. And then this happens. Check it out.
How did the principal even get my pictures?
Girl, people be hacking people. Could be some 400-pound guy sitting on his bed. Russia, who knows?
Dejanay.
So she snitched on Miss Hill so that she can get money or get her debt cleared from her family, because her family, you know, be taking food like crazy and it's racking up a bill, I am sure. Everybody's looking at her like, seriously, why would you do that? And of course, they realize that, oh, it's Dejanay, she's going to do that regardless. So Miss Hill's outside. She's getting her stuff moved out, where people realize that, oh, she actually kind of lives in her car, because her car is her, you know, all her stuff is there. She lives in her car. She doesn't necessarily live in the school. She just uses the school as a place to sleep, not her car. And then Penny ends up going to Miss Hill, and then this happens. Check it out.
Oh, I'm sorry about you getting fired.
Stop fronting, girl. I know you kids don't like me.
No, we like you. I mean, we like it when you,
So Miss Hill's not buying their apology, and she knows that the kids do not like her, and she ends up getting fired and she leaves. Then Bobby is still trying to train Zoe to try to have any sort of dance moves whatsoever. She ends up tapping into her inner rhythm. And the way that they showcase it is pretty terrible. But again, it's a joke that they're going to keep having, that white people have no rhythm. Then what ends up happening is that Penny brings Miss Hill to her house to live there without her parents' knowledge or consent. Trudy, of course, is going to be the one to say, oh, yes, baby, no problem. You can definitely come live with us. That's not an issue. Oscar is not wanting to have it whatsoever. And Trudy says, no, she's going to live here. So they end up setting the table, get ready for dinner. And Miss Hill is controlling the place like it's her classroom, and ends up punishing everybody, including Sugar Mama, to detention, which is pretty hilarious. And then the next day at school, this happens. Check it out.
Here, Felicia.
Man, I had to do a 200-page paper on the use of a salad fork.
What? The lunch lady is teaching classes now?
No, it's Miss Hill.
So Miss Hill is running them into the ground because she still thinks she's a teacher and is running the entire house as a classroom. KG ends up making a support, kind of like GoFundMe donation link for Miss Hill to try to get her the money needed in order for her to actually be able to have the money to get somewhere and have her own place. Then when they return home, you see Miss Hill doing a pop quiz with Sugar Mama. Check it out.
And where's your report, funny boy?
And where's your rent, Miss Hill?
So Sugar Mama ends up really liking Miss Hill because Miss Hill constantly disciplines Oscar, which is something that Sugar Mama thoroughly enjoys, as you guys are aware. Trudy is regretting her decision as expected because she's forced to do any kind of physical labor, which she doesn't want to do, and Miss Hill's making her do it. Then you have Penny infiltrating her own house, which is set up like a classroom again because you have a bunch of desks and Oscar is forced to sit at that desk in detention. And then we have this scene with the principal. Check it out.
Announcement from Penny Proud. I don't know what it's about.
But it better be short.
So Penny ends up trying to address the entire class, and she's trying to garner sympathy for Miss Hill in the hopes that people would donate to the link. But nobody wants to donate because nobody can't stand Miss Hill. They just don't like her. And then what ends up happening is that the entire band comes over. This is Zoe's big moment. Zoe ends up having Bobby show up in some weird car costume. And Bobby says that she's got this. They all go together and they do this whole crazy dance scene that I can't play because of copyright. But Zoe ends up doing so good that everybody starts liking the donation link and actually donating money to the link, which obviously starts getting Miss Hill the money she needs. And then Miss Hill continues with Sugar Mama at the house. Check it out.
I wish you would go. Penny, you came back. Save me first.
So after she beats the hell out of Oscar, Penny ends up showing Miss Hill that the donation link funded $1 million, which I have a hard time believing for a high school, or junior high school, whatever school this is. But of course, you know, it's a cartoon, so we're going to let it pass. Ends up funding $1 million to not only get her her own place, which she's completely shocked by, but allowed her to also get her job back. The school is willing to hire her back, and she's completely dumbfounded by it. She can't believe that they actually did it. Starts to tear up and stuff, and the kids start to tear up, and they have this whole big happy moment where Miss Hill is starting to move out of the house, thankfully, and Bobby ends up picking up Miss Hill, ironically, and Sugar Mama questions what's going on. Check it out.
Set an extra plate for Lisa. Please, please, please.
So Miss Hill and Bobby end up getting together at the end of it all because Miss Hill and Bobby had a thing previously that was showcased earlier in the episode in the past. And then that's how the episode ends from there. They both drive off happily ever after into the sunset. So this particular episode was interesting, okay? It had good messaging, definitely. Definitely not as bad messaging as it was in the last episode with Al Roker, but it was definitely better messaging in this one. And overall, the TV show, it had some funny moments for sure, especially with Miss Hill and the way she would abuse Oscar. And overall, I think it was an okay episode for sure. So I think the final score that I'm going to give for this particular episode for Proud Family, Louder and Prouder, is going to be a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think 7.5 out of 10 is fair for this particular episode. I think they bumped it up definitely compared to the last one because the activism in the last one was just really kind of boring, to be honest with you. But this particular one was definitely better, little to no messaging, and they had some good messaging in it, you know what I mean, with the whole, you know, take care of the homeless and all that stuff and try not to be so judgmental against people who may be falling on tough times. So overall, I think this was a better episode and it's definitely a step in the right direction. I just feel like this particular show has such a weird like identity crisis. It just all depends on who writes which particular episode, in my opinion. I think that's what's going on. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.